Who's next on stage?
We'll just have to practice.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's really a pleasure having you with us.
Hi, Mridula. Hi. It's pleasure. It's the same. I'm loving to work this situational problems, I think, somewhere because it's really fun to meet people online and having some conversations.
I know. Given that we've been so isolated for such a long time and it's been crazy working dance schedules on Zoom, I think this definitely is
Yeah.
different and something, you can think a lot less about. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
Pavitra, I wanted to
Absolutely.
ask you, I'm sure you've had multiple crazy, funny, wonky situations that you've faced in your journey thus far. Be it from costumes to orchestra to dancers, anything, right? And perhaps you can share those memories.
Yeah. I think sometimes the funny situations, when you think of it later, it's funny for you, but on stage, it is something very, very tricky and very, very serious where you are
Exactly.
literally skip a beat on stage.
Exactly. A lot of tension that
So,
moment. But yeah.
so I think I will divide this conversation into three things. One, which happened when I was with my first teacher, one with my second teacher, and when I began my professional journey. So it will be very interesting to know because first teacher, Guru Kumari Vasantaji, with whom I did my Arangetram and I did my training under dance for 12 years. It was a hobby class where I used to go every Sunday, and typical class where I just get trained. And when you're a kid, you don't even know what you're doing. You just go, learn, come out, go, learn, come out. So I remember the first day when I wanted to go to the class. I was around 5 year old, and teacher had told Lakshmi Puja, you'll have your new admission starting, so you can come after school and take admissions. So I was very excited. I was just 5 years old. I was very, very excited. I told my amma that, oh, sorry, teacher told me it was Saraswati Puja. I was 5 years old. I didn't know anything much. I told Amma, teacher has told to come on Lakshmi Puja for Vidyarambham. So my Amma said, Vidyarambham, Lakshmi Puja. Seri, Paklam, let us see, maybe.
A new twist.
And exactly. So I told my mom, no, I want to go. I want to go. I have to go. Teacher told me it is, and this is, I'm talking about 1987, 8, 97, 8. Yeah. So you didn't even have mobile phones. So you can't even call your teacher and ask.
Correct.
And we sat in front of dance class the whole day. Teacher comes in the evening for Diwali order. Deepavali, Navaratri order. She just wanted to lit lamps outside the class. So she comes, she said, Pavitra, why are you sitting here? I told you to come for Saraswati Puja, no? And that is what happened the first day I wanted to learn with that teacher. So I think whenever I think of this situation, my mom, first of all, she does a big eyes on me that you wasted my whole day sitting in the dance class. Basically, being a mom, she wanted to fulfill my wish. And then she wanted to take me to the class. But how things can get so funny when you actually didn't know what is Saraswati Puja and Mahalakshmi Puja. And I think somewhere I also learned in a way that, oh, acha, this is what is called Vijayadashami Puja. Right? So I think sometimes this humor also teaches you something in life where you learn a lot. And I think all these situations, what we come across on stage, off stage, definitely teaches you so that you don't go through the situation again.
So you might not appreciate the teaching at that point, but every single time, you laugh. You've actually learned something.
Yeah. Absolutely. And after that, definitely I remember that moment every Vijayadashami, wherever I am, I definitely remember that the whole moment, what happened, the how we spent that whole day in outside the dance class. And with my next master, Deepak Mazumdar sir, with whom I got trained for all my life after I went for advanced training under him. So with Deepak sir, what happened? I remember my first live orchestra performance. So in Mumbai, what happens? We don't have much of live orchestra. We have recorded music, what we perform. In Bombay, uh, it's just recent that there are young musicians who come and who volunteer to help us with the music. So I remember this was 2001, and Deepak sir said, "Okay, Pavitra, tomorrow we have a live performance. I will sit for Natwangam, and you will dance. I have already fixed up the musicians." This was a half an hour slot, and I had to do Swaminananda Nadimai Varnam. Recorded music, you know how it is. You know literally every paragraph, how it falls, how it is going to come.
Exactly.
Every gamaka, you know, so you know how it is going to be. Even the jati, the way Dalanku has been
Correct.
taken, you know. So
Correct.
for me, being a new student of his, he had told me, you know how which jati comes after what, everything was taught. And I remember the blunder I did. Sir, we just had one rehearsal with the musicians because it was just next day. So one rehearsal today,
Okay.
and next day was a performance. And I
Program.
remember
Yeah.
the first thing what happened. Trikala Jati went off well. The Pallavi went off well. Second Jati, Deepak sir starts Dalang kutakadi kutakatading inatom. But the way it was in my recorded music and the way he took it was different. So this was in a Tisram. This jati was in
Okay.
Tisram. So Dallang. So it goes in Tisra Nadai.
Correct. Correct.
And believe me, I went to do the third jati and I started the whole third jati. He was singing the second jati. On stage, the way we both have managed and the way I finished, that Tirmanam would have gone for n number of times. Because I had to somehow do
And come
I
back to
kept
Talam.
on
That's the problem.
kept on doing the Tirmanams and Tirmanams and Tirmanams. I have no idea. It was only a 4 Avartanam Jati, but I had to do it much more. The original one was 4 Avartanam. I remember whenever we do that Jati, I literally laugh and I look at Deepak sir and I said, "Oh my God, this had happened, sir." So this was another serious situation, which happened to be a humorous situation later. On stage, it is, you know how difficult it can be. Because when the third Jati comes, you do not know, will my Guruji take the old Jati or he will take the new
Or
Jati?
this. There's always this continuing element of surprise now.
Yes,
You have no idea what's going to come up next.
yes,
And
yes,
that
yes,
reassurance with recorded music is start to finish, front and back.
yes,
So
yes.
you are sort of the master of that at that point of time.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's all these small things that throw you off on stage, especially
yeah.
when you're starting.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you're starting, because like now, I love to be performing to live musicians. There
Correct.
is no looking back, and you don't enjoy doing it on recorded music. So because there is so much more which comes from my singer, and then there's so
Yes.
much more which comes from your learning and experience of dance on stage. So it's a very beautiful experience now. But again, it's the same. I have learned from that humor that how I have to be more alert of what is next.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very
And
true. Very true.
from after that, I had this experience of working with Anita Guha ma'am. I've been performing and doing lead roles for all her productions since long time now. She's been very gracious to invite me all the time to do this lovely, fantastic roles. During one of the shows, what had happened is we were performing in Orissa for a festival. I think it's almost 10 years back. and we had stage rehearsal. It was already 4 o'clock. The performance was at 7 o'clock. She said, Pavitra, male dane, unakkenna, you will get ready in 1 hour. All these girls, they need at least 2 to 2.5 hours to get ready. So you can go to the hotel, take some nap, and then you can get ready. You understand what
Okay.
is going to happen next.
Oh my God. Okay.
Our time to go to the venue was at 6 o'clock. 7 was the performance opening slot for a very, very big festival, which was live on television. Uh, and then she knocked the door. That is when I didn't keep an alarm also. When I took this nap, I had to yet take my shower, shave, put my makeup, and then leave. We had decided to put costume at the venue.
Okay.
So she knocks the door. I said, okay, now it is already 6 o'clock. The program is at 7. I wasn't ready.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
What happens next is I just tell auntie, please excuse me. I will come in 5 minutes. Nakila vare, auntie. You please proceed. I just texted my friends that one of my friend that, okay, I am going to come down in 5 minutes. Please wait for me. In that 5 minutes, I put my powder. That's it. Just the powder and the lipstick. Nothing else. Onnume illa. In the car, I took the second car and I put my eyes in the car. I told auntie, I'll just get ready with the costume in the venue. Auntie, don't worry, I'll be ready. And after the performance, I tell her, auntie, this is what happened. Believe me, Mridula, I have never been so tensed about a performance, because it's a group performance. I should not spoil the show. And that whole scene was so difficult to take. And after it happened, the whole group, we were 9 of us, the way we have laughed at the situation was wow. Two things. One was the performance went off well. Second one was this shock which I gave them after the performance, which actually took a very humorous end.
But I'm
So,
glad you gave it after the performance, huh? Before the performance, you freaked out everybody.
oh my God. No, I wouldn't have. I have so many other things like this stored in my diary, which I always write about my funny experiences, some things which were very experiences which you learn a lot, or experiences which some experiences where you overcome something because of the performance. So there are so many things which you learn during a performance, and I have maintained a diary for the same. So it's just a coincidence that we are together for the same topic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
at least we think alike on that. I do definitely think these are funny, perhaps post the event. But what is very
yeah.
you always learn something. I mean, you're like,
Yes,
next time, you'll be very careful about setting time,
yes,
things like that. So those make
yes,
a huge difference.
yes. During the lockdown, oh my God, during the lockdown, I had a performance. This was early lockdown, I think March end. And you're not used to this whole scenario of performing for live, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I was left with a situation where I had to do so many things in my house. I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to take care of my mom, dad, I had to teach online, I had to practice. And I had to accept this performance too, because it was from a very, very dear person of mine, which I couldn't avoid. That person wanted to start the festival from my dancing. I said, okay, Panla, no problem. 20 minutes done. No problem. Yeah, I will do it. And in the whole situation, because there was no proper schedule happening. Everything was very hazy, right? Hence, I said, okay, it's on that date, Allah. We will do, no problem. And it was the day he sends me a Zoom link, not a Zoom link. I think the password for Facebook, and I say, okay, this is today. Okay, and in half an hour was the performance. In half an
Oh my
hour was the
God.
performance. Luckily, it was not one of those festivals where I had to get ready, and luckily, it was just a home performance. I just put my veshti on, and just that's it. I was ready. But I will tell you, first time You don't even know you're going to enter to a zone where you don't know what is Facebook Live, which I had never done, and you take a password and other details of that other person. So you need to also know that if that gets connected or not. Oh my God, this was the worst ever could happen about a dance performance of mine, because I'm so prepared about my dates and timings, my dictionary, my whole the whole thing is so clear, my timetable, that it never happens. But this situation actually I took a step back. In fact, after the performance, I said nothing doing like this, because it's very dangerous both for the performer and the person who is organizing it. So yes, if the person wouldn't have sent me the link half an hour before,
You
I
wouldn't
think
have
it
even
would have been,
known. You know,
I would that person would have just waited. Okay, now he will come. If he will come, I think now. So
where is
yes,
he?
yeah, absolutely. So I think such situations are now I do not feel very funny about it. But after the performance, I have laughed again and again, thinking of the whole scenario, that how casually I was sitting before the performance, and I was thinking, why have I have kept this 1 hour free in my diary? I didn't note it down that I've got a performance. That's the whole issue. If I would have put it in my timetable the day I had accepted it, I would have definitely remembered. But I kept that 1 hour off. It was there in my mind. I never wrote it. So, there should be something, doesn't matter. I will check. And this doesn't matter thing happened so big that is actually I freaked out. After that link, what I got, I freaked out.
But
So,
you know, Pavitra, that is such a good learning. That is so true. Because especially during lockdown, we've been so overwhelmed with everything else, right? It just
yeah,
hits you.
yeah,
Plus, of course, the claustrophobia of just sitting in a place,
yeah,
doing something again and
yeah,
again, sort of, I think, makes you very, I won't say dumb, but just, you know, you're slower on picking up stuff. It happens to all of us. There are
yeah,
so many times when a day has gone and I'm still wondering, what did I accomplish, right?
yes,
I seem to have done a lot of things, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
And just this mangling of days and times, you didn't realize that there was a deadline approaching.
absolutely. And I think the only reason I didn't put it in my diary, the reason was because it was not one of those performances which I used to do. And maybe, oh, there is no other performance. No, this is the only one which is going to happen. So I will remember. I think this is what happened. And I learned a lot. I said, even if I have to clean something, I'm going to write this out in my diary.
And it really,
Yeah,
really gets to you as well, right? At
yeah,
that
yeah,
point, imagine the tension that, you know, first of all, Facebook Live is my God. I'm still learning. I don't understand that at all. I've
yeah,
done everything, but Facebook Live is a challenge.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Some,
yeah.
I think.
Yes,
But performing again, you'll have to, whatever it is, you want to give your
yes,
best.
yes.
So, you know, that's always a pressure
True,
is there.
true.
But as a teacher, and once you have started performing, there must have been multiple crazy things that went around because you are at the helm of things. You're no longer, you know, doing as somebody else is not doing
Yeah.
that, right?
As a teacher, we had done this. I've stopped doing productions with my students now, because I've moved ahead, and I'm more into traditional margams and a group choreography which revolves around traditional margam, or something thematic, which where the aharyam is not elaborate and just with the regular costumes. But we had done one production with 100 children called Swami Sharanam, a Malayalam production on Ayyappa. So we have this Mandala Puja celebrations in Bombay. And in place like Bombay, I must say, we don't have something called sabhas, or we don't have an opportunity to perform at all. That's why I'm telling you this was 10 years back. So my institute is 18 years old now. So
Congratulations.
thank you. So this was, I think, 10 years back, and I used to create some or the other opportunity for student. It even if it is a local a puja samiti, I might go and ask them for. I will request them that give a pushpanjali to my group. for my students, so that they get an opportunity to wear a costume, put makeup, and be on stage. Otherwise, you won't have any occasion at all. And how do you create interest in them? So somewhere we have been very successful, and we have also got opportunities. Some organization might just come and watch, and they might like it, and they'll call for some other
Exactly.
performance.
Exactly.
So that is how Mandala Puja happened. And there was one year when we performed for 10 Mandala Pujas, same production. And Mandala Pujas are made for Ayyappa. So it becomes much more special. And that's why we recorded it in Malayalam language, because the audience will be also Malayalis. From here, I was playing Ayyappa and also one of the demonic characters. So I had to do Ayyappa, then I had to do the demon, and then come back to Ayyappa.
I think I know where you're going.
After the demon character is done, now there is a portion when I need to tell those kiddies, like really small kids, okay, ipoda pono. Now you have to go on stage and come back from that side. So I kept talking to them after my role is done. I kept talking, okay, now you need to do this, now you need to do that. Then Mangalam, I need to come back as Ayyappa and sit there. That full Vesham of Ayyappa, the finale. And I'm still talking to the kids. Okay, now just go there. I'm instructing. For the Mangalam, there are these Apsaras who come with lamps. And one of the girls, she says, "Sir, last so many shows, we never saw you here standing. Today, why are you standing here?" I said, "Oh yeah,
I know.
Correct. I need to go. Oh my God, I need to enter. Oh my goodness." I had just 3 minutes. All these girls were there. They started going on stage. Somewhere this Ayyappa comes after the Mangalam is over. We tried to get one curtain somehow. And then I just went and sat there as Ayyappa in the end. So see how things, even in the backstage, they're so systematically arranged that even the kids come to know that who is next to them, who is not next to them. So only when that kid actually told me that I was never standing here, so then that is when it struck me. Oh yeah, if I was not standing here, I might be doing something somewhere. Where was I? And that is what hit me, and I ran backstage. And these Mandala Pujas, they don't happen in a proper auditorium. They will have a pandal put up, and then you will dance like in an open ground or something. It's not a ticketed show. And they will have this mandir of Ayyappa with lots of lamps. They'll have lots of things happening there. So you had to go and change in whatever place you get. And luck would have it, I could at least come in Harivarasanam, which was going on the last song. And last Sharanam, I could come and at least Swami Sharanam Ayyappa. In that I sat.
And that's when you appeared.
That's when I appeared. That was...
No, but I am very, very, very curious.
Yeah.
Were you able to remove the Asura things before you came?
I could remove. I could just take off everything, but I couldn't take off my costumes. I put everything on that. Some konja heavy Ayyappa, that's it, that day. Yeah. But
they wouldn't have noticed, because
for me, the Talemudi and Kiridam was more important. So I thought presence of mind at that moment, what you can do. So I think that was important for me. Yeah.
At least you're able to change. There are many people who come on stage with half their earlier costumes.
Oh yeah. This also happens. Yeah, I know. Luckily not with me so far. Yeah.
But you travel a lot also, right? Throughout India, giving shows.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, transportation, taking things, those are also challenges.
Yeah, but I think it is a challenge. Sometimes travel also takes a lot of things. It's always a question mark. Will the flight land on time or not? Now, this might be very humorous situation now, but I was in Delhi, and evening I was dancing. So both performances were big performances, because one was on 29th March 2002. I was dancing in Delhi for Sangeet Natak Academy, and 30th March evening, I was getting awarded in Girija Teachers Festival in Kerala, uh, in Thrissur.
Okay.
Yeah, in Thrissur. Yeah, I think it's Thrissur. So I was performing there, and my Guruji was doing Natwangam there. So I had to accept that performance. And this is when I was in my college. Morning, what happens is luck would have it. You know, that day, Delhi in airport decides to shift all these flights to the other zone, the other terminal, which is
On that day.
on that day itself. And henceforth, that is how it has been. So I was like, do you really want it to be on the same day? This taxi guy, he took me to the old terminal. When I get down, the other taxi guy says, "Bhai sahab, yahan par nahi hai. Aaj na wahan shift ho gaya hai." I somehow run to the other terminal. I run to the other terminal. I missed the flight. I missed the flight by 5 minutes. Now, Delhi to Kerala, it's a long distance. So there is, it was already a flight which goes from Delhi to Kolkata to Kerala, to Kochi. But that missed. So I thought, okay, maybe I get another flight to Kolkata and then go to Kochi. Sorry, I did that. But that day, that Kolkata to Kochi flight got cancelled.
Oh my God.
So then I had to go from Delhi to Kolkata, Kolkata to Bombay, Bombay to Hyderabad, Hyderabad to Cochin. One day. And that happened. That everything happened on time. Just see. I mean, the actual flight never happened properly, but the other flights, everything happened properly. My performance was at 7. There was one dancer who was dancing after me, whom we shifted before me. Still, my performance was at 8 now. I reached airport at 7:45.
Oh my
Completely,
God.
I got dressed up completely from airport to the stage. I remove my chappals outside the auditorium and just jump onto the stage. Oh my God, that situation. Everything I did it in the car itself. The whole 15 minutes dressing up, go perform. That's it. God.
That's crazy. But you know what is amazing? You zigzagged almost across India in your flight.
It happened. It happened. I do not know. And I was not even praying God. I was just like, "Theek hai, hua to hua." Otherwise, my Guruji might just accept the award. That's it. You cannot do anything that situation.
No, this is crazy. I mean, literally, Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, you
This,
went across the
yeah,
country.
it was like that. There were no connecting flights. There were no direct flights. This was the only way. And I hats off to my travel agent, who is a very dear friend of mine, Praveen, who scheduled everything so beautifully. Then he said, "Sir, abhi na aapko bhagwan ke upar chhodna hai. You have to just leave it to God, because this is the best you can do. Nothing else."
And it's crazy. And
Yeah.
you literally got dressed in the car.
Yeah.
15 max.
15 minutes. 15 minutes. Yeah, I think this is where we think, do we really have to give 45 minutes to get ready?
Just like we're realizing during COVID, do we really need all of those things and stuff like that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, at a time of stress and, what we want and what we need,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
clarified.
True. Very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there is one situation, it's not a situation, I should say, as I'm just connecting it to your words, where the time and the situation makes us learn, relearn, unlearn. So there is one place where in Anita Guha ma'am's production, I used to be Lakshmana for a production on Ramayana. Very beautiful production where Lakshmana happens to be a character, because we did the Sundara Kandam, where Hanuman is the main hero and Lakshmana happens to be the another main character. I was playing Lakshmana, Ravana, again Lakshmana.
Okay.
Now, Lakshmana to Ravana, I get almost 15-20 minutes to change. It was quite easy. But from Ravana to Lakshmana, I just have 3 minutes.
Oops.
So I used to think always, how is that possible? But it used to happen. It used to happen. I had 4 people who were helping me backstage, 4 dancers.
Right.
And we did some 25 shows across US also of the same production. And every program without flaw, everything happened so smoothly. So this is when I think you realize that it's possible. You just have to have that attention and clarity of mind, after which what, how to set things, and you're there. That's it.
It's the mind. I mean, if you're able to focus,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
mind is powerful. It's
Yeah,
amazing. If you
yeah,
really want to do something,
yeah,
it will do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But if you had 1 hour also, you will take the 1 hour to change.
Yeah. Once when we were dancing for Anita Guha ma'am, uh, we were performing for the prestigious Konark Festival. And we left Chennai. It's a 13-hour journey from Chennai to Bhubaneswar. And we left Chennai in the evening, thinking evening some 5-6 o'clock train. This is also 7-8 years back. Uh, you know how big is this festival? And best of the dancers from Anita Guha ma'am's production from her company, and uh, we all were very well rehearsed, live music. Anita auntie went by early morning flight. We all said we all will take train so that we rest well and come. We don't have to wake up early morning. So we took this train at in the evening around 5 or 6. Already the train was late by 1 hour. Okay, share. After that we sit. Then they announced the train is late, another late by 2 hours. Fine, no problem. We were supposed to reach early morning, 7 or 8 o'clock. The program was evening 7 o'clock, opening slot. Can you believe early morning we wake up and they announced the train is late by 10 hours?
Okay.
Afternoon, we receive a message that the train won't reach till 7. And we have a 1 hour journey getting down from the car to go to the venue. This happens in the Sun Temple. So there were some 9 girls and me. We were doing Bhavayami Raghuraman. So we thought, okay, fine. All aunties just took off the saris what they have from the bags, the normal saris, and they made a green room in the train itself. All the girls got ready there. As usual, boy. So I have to adjust wherever I am. So only boy. Okay, fine. I adjusted. We all got ready. And imagine it was not even an AC compartment. It was a sleeper coach.
Regular, right?
Regular sleeper coach. So you can imagine all kind of people coming and watching this extra dressed up people with all glittery things. And this is Bhubaneswar. It's not even south. So people don't even know these kind of things. People from another planet come and sit in the train. It's like that.
Correct.
Everybody comes and stares. Then suddenly every half an hour, Anita auntie was calling us. Announcement aayittu. Hey, where are you? What is happening? The minister also called up because this was government of Orissa's cultural department's festival. Believe me, 7. There was a performance after us as 8. So they shifted 8 o'clock performance to 7. No problem. At least we got down from the train at 7 p.m. Completely dressed. Only Silimbu has to be worn. That's it. Everything was ready. Traffic jam. Oh my God. We reached the venue at 7:55. This is Pakka dot live. You cannot do. You perform or you're out of the festival. You cannot do anything. It comes in DD Bharati. 7:55. We just remove our chappals and we are in the auditorium. Oh my God.
That's crazy. Of course, the stunning backdrop and all is there, but you won't have had time to even breathe.
The sad part was the whole thing. The saddest part was that we couldn't even visit the Sun Temple because we performed and then we left. We had an early morning flight to catch. Return.
Your plan was the morning you come, you'll have some time, right? That's completely gone waiting for the day.
We had planned for stage rehearsal and then we will go and watch the temple very beautifully, have some nice photo shoots there. and then we come back.
Yeah.
But all photo shoot happened with the inside the train itself. Yeah. But in everything, in every situation, I think all this is situation of panic, humor, tension, everything. You actually learn a lot,
Yeah.
and that is what is your experience as an artist, which you cherish when you look back, and then you have a time when you think of it and you smile, or you,
Yeah.
yeah, you always have this small uh, this this moment when you share about thinking about your past, that you also came out of that hurdle and you come out of that obstacle and you were victorious even then.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah.
I always feel, whenever I talk to dancers, especially in these couple of things, there's this twinkle in the eye, there is this joy, and also, this thing that, see, I overcame that. See, I
Yes.
passed that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is the kind of the happiness or the positivity that I believe
Yeah.
art brings. So
Yeah.
is the reason why when I'm doing these 15 years, it lot of pain points, lot of sweat, patience, and lot of hurt. Any artist will
Yes.
go through it.
Yes.
But at the
Yes.
end of
Yes.
it, it is the joy of sitting and talking to artists, hearing from them, knowing that you went through the same experience or different experience,
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
fact that you triumphed over it. And that's what I want to
Yeah.
really bring out
Yeah.
in these 15 years that I have seen. The life
Yeah.
keeps me going because I generally like to joke, laugh, and have fun. So for me, that's a big thing in dance as well. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Pavitra, for joining me today,
Thank you.
sharing your
Thank you,
thoughts. It was so
Mridula.
much fun to hear all
Fun.
of this. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And you go back to your past and you cherish the moments what you had. You remember the whole sequence, how it happened, how it turned out, and yes, you actually enjoy the whole moment. Yeah. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Mridula, for such a lovely thought. I think this is really wonderful. I'm looking forward for this
Thank you so much, Pavitra.
to
I
see all the other artists. Basically, I'm
yes,
just looking
absolutely.
forward to
And
see all the other artists.
exactly. And each one comes up with these really strange things that they've done, or, and some are like run of the mill. Like all of us have gone through it. And you immediately
Yes,
relate, right? You're like, oh my God,
yes,
it happened to me too. And I think as a
yes.
community, there are these templates in life that we all go through. If
Yeah,
we're a little more empathetic, there's a lot more understanding we get from each other. And I think
yeah,
that is also
yeah.
important.
True,
The learning
true.
is one, but it's also a question of
Yeah,
you've gone through it as well. I've gone through it as
yeah,
well. So that's a nice
yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
So, but thank you so much, Pavitra. It means a lot to
Thank you.
journey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm in conversation with Smita Madhav for this Vihasati series. Thank you so much, Smita, for joining me today.
My pleasure, Akka. So happy to see you like this, at least after a long, long, long time.
Oh, very true. Very true. We've almost been cut off from the normal world, if I can put it so. So, Smita, I just wanted to ask you, what are your really, I'm sure you have tons of fun moments, crazy moments, things that completely went wrong or was not in your control at all, which always happens during programs. So can you just share some of those as a journey?
Plenty of them, most of which, rather many of which happened in my childhood when we used to travel with a large group. We used to go to Delhi by train. So those were the days where whichever part of India you traveled to, you had to go only by train. So there's no question of flying in and flying out. And we used to do these huge productions where when I was little, I would either be the tree in the production or a deer or a cow, then later got promoted to Gopika and then Krishna and then whatever. But no matter what the production was, no matter what the trip was, there would be something or the other that would go wrong in the most hilarious way. So one time I remember we were traveling to Mysore by train, and two girls got into a fight about who wanted the upper berth. So as usual, the panchayat was sorted out by another student's mom. So she was fed up. She didn't want to deal with this in the middle of the night with two girls fighting over the upper berth. So she put both these akkas on the upper berth. And நான் கீழே படுத்துட்டு இருந்தேன். So in the middle of the night, one akka landed on me.
Oh my God.
Back in the day, I was a crybaby. I used to cry at the drop of a hat. So I sat up in the lower berth in the middle of the night and started bawling my heart out. Another time I remember when we were traveling for a Durga production. It was about a Navadurga Charitamnu. And the Katti, Kapda, Shulayudam, adellathiyum. For some reason, in the last minute, there was no bag or something in which they could be stored. So we tied them all up together, and it was tied to the window of the train, like the grill. Right. It was tied up, and there was another family traveling with us. She suddenly got up in the middle of the night. She saw this Katti and Trishulam, and she started howling. So there were about 4 or 5 of us. So on the Koyandia, we had to pacify her all night. We were singing. We had to tell her stories. We had to do all kinds of things the whole night.
Just to calm her down.
The kid would refuse to sleep. And her mother said, "Unga group la irukra Trishulam paathada, my kid freaked out. So you deal with her."
You're responsible now.
Horrible. So we've done, more recently, we staged Alagar Kuravanji in Hyderabad. And the governor of Telangana, Sri E.S.L. Narasimhan, and his wife, Vimala Narasimhan Mami, they had come. So one of the earlier scenes of the Alagar Kuravanji has the Kattiyakaran come in. So the Kattiyakaran has a stick with him. For some reason, my student who was dancing that, he decided to replace the stick with a mop, the plastic mop, without the part that is used to wipe. He took that off, he detached the mop, and he just used the fiber, the plastic stick, because he found it lighter. Few minutes into the dance, he realized that at the end of the stick, you have a little plastic contraption which you can use to hang the thing. That stayed in his hand, but the whole stick went flying. It almost landed at the governor's feet. There was a fair amount of distance between the stage and the first row, but for some reason, the katta just flew. Immediately, half a dozen cops came onto the stage saying, "You should not do all these things, this and that." So we've had several of those. And then one time we were dancing, and we used to have the music on a CD. So that was before pen drives and stuff. It was the transition phase. So we were dancing a piece, and for some reason, we didn't realize that the CD player should not be kept very close to the dais. So we were dancing, and the CD was going back. So the same line got played some 24, 25 times, and we didn't understand. We had just set it up for 4 or 6 repetitions, the Pallavi. And the Pallavi is coming again and again, and it was a group production. So we're all just staring at each other. Everyone's doing some crazy improv. Terrible.
And it just kept skipping because of the vibrations, right?
Because of the vibration, we didn't understand what was going on. Either way, I think the worst comedy of errors that has happened was, we were quite recently, maybe about 8 years ago, there was this big production that was a kind of a Jugalbandi. I was the Bharatanatyam artist, there was a Kuchipudi artist, then there was a Kathak artist, there was an Odissi artist, and there was a Mohiniyattam. So there were 5 of us dancers, and we had rehearsed a lot. The finale piece was this Tilana with like some super complicated Layam patterns and stuff. So we'd spent weeks rehearsing that piece. We had made sure we had notes in different colors because the Kathak bowls were played in tabla and the Odissi was in pakhavaj, and the Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam both had mridangam. So they had played one in a different mridangam, Panchamam and Shadjam, Annamadri split panni. So we really had to rack our brains, and we thought we had done a super job. We were like super well rehearsed because the producer of the show had taken so much care that he'd actually put us up in a farmhouse kind of place for almost 10, 12 days so that we could just rehearse the whole thing. So we were that calm. That usually never happens, right? We usually rehearsing like amidst a lot of madness. So we were super cool and like super prepared. That was the first show. Thankfully, it was not like one of those big premieres in a big sabha. They decided to stage it in a small resort kind of place so that we can kind of figure out what's going on. But we were super cool. We thought we had it all under control because we genuinely practiced so much.
Right.
So we went and performed, and then we struck the last pose. And then, and only then did we realize that what we thought was the finale. அதுக்கு ஒரு இன்னொரு அட்டாச்மெண்ட் ஒன்று இருந்திருக்கு. ஒரு several, some 20-25 ஆவர்த்தனம்ஸ் of a தனி ஆவர்த்தனம் kind of thing at the end of the Tilana. After a super long carvai. So as it turned out, that was the final version. But what we were given was a edited version kind of thing. But what was played at the concert was the final version.
The final version. Oh my God.
So நாங்க போஸ் வச்சுட்டு we were எல்லாரும் கையெல்லாம் தட்டிட்டா திடீர்னு இன்னும் ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு. அண்ட் அந்த மியூசிக்கை நாங்க கேட்டதே இல்லை. நாங்க லைஃப்ல ஒரு தடவை கூட கேட்டது இல்லை. அதுவும் இதே மாதிரி தான். That is also like the super சவால் ஜவாப் kind of situation going on. And it was like a big fancy mohra. ஒண்ணுமே புரியல. None of us understood what in the name of God was going on, because anju instrument and it was a live audience. We didn't understand anything, and it was for a good 4-5 minutes poirkum that passage. And anju
quite long. That's quite long.
Quite long. Piece was 13-14 minutes. Adha mudichachu.
And then you have this standalone Laya piece now, which you had about, which is even more interesting.
No clue. Even if we had heard it once, we would have done something about it.
So what happened?
Each one's that's going on one side, and then so thankfully we had a Kathak dancer, right? So she decided to save the day. She was doing some vigorous chakkars around us. The four of us, we like we're trying to do something. And the Kathak dancer, she said, okay, you guys do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm taking over. So poor thing, she had to do like chakkars after chakkars after chakkar. She's going round and round. So it's like, because the Layam part was super intricate, all of us are kind of good in Layam. So we were understanding it in bits and pieces. So we're like, oh, here I can hear something that I can understand. Shall we start the other immediately? The Mohiniyattam dancer, Ava, she's doing her own lasya kind of thing. He was crazy. So yeah, plenty of such crazy things have happened, yes.
No, absolutely. And of course, the innumerable number of times that, there's been a miss in orchestra and locations.
Oh yeah, plenty. One vaati naanga Bombay pocha, flute artist didn't show up train la. So naanga pora vazhiyilla every guy who got on chumma we'd be asking, Babu, nu flute vaistava?
And on the train you were asking for a flutist?
Chumma kettundirundha, by chance kedapana.
So weird. I'm sure the passengers were wondering what the hell was wrong with all of you.
Yeah, we've done plenty of these things. From Nepal varaikum bus liye poirkom. So pora vazhiyilla ellarum chumma dance karte hain, dance panni katte. Idhe bus la aadi kamchirkom. Because you have to befriend the person, right? You're driving from Hyderabad all the way to Kathmandu.
Exactly. It's a long journey. It's a very
long journey. So the dance troupe la irukra akkas ella, they sleep and say, "Ninga pasangala keep them entertained, man. You little monkeys."
So all the youngsters had to do something. But also even costumes. I mean, anything can happen. As you mentioned, this costumes is a separate category of misfires. They have to have a separate chapter, I think, in every dance life.
Yes. That every kacheri, I think, to this day, how much ever you try, whatever you do, something or the other will go wrong. Like a savari coming off and the todu falling.
That's almost like a standard basic. Now. I know, it's a standard. It's just your false hair that just fell off. Like I was telling one of my students, the false hair fell off during the Arangetram. It was like a tail throughout the entire Varnam.
And mine fell off during Bhavyami Raghuramam, exact at Vanarottama Sahita in the US. Correcta in the Vanarottama Sahita like a wall. So I used it for a bit. I was like, additional aharya, go for it.
I know, exactly. Well, at least it fell at the correct time and you were able to slot it in somewhere. It's very difficult when you're actually dancing and you have a tail throughout. And the problem is we couldn't communicate with her. So we were like, look at us at some point of time. It didn't happen. It was an interesting piece.
You've joined the Shringara Padavarnam, on a tail hanging. Vanarottama wall is okay. You're doing like a nice Shringara Naika.
It matches. To a certain extent, you can use it.
This is like
showing total love, and then there is a tail hanging behind you. It sort of completely takes away the mood.
That's why I tell my students, till your arangetram, you're not going to chop your hair off.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Even if it grows thin and it looks terrible, it's okay. Arangetram varikku, you're not doing any such smart antics. Adukapra ero panikonga.
No, after that, because you just have too many things to deal with during your arangetram anyways. Right?
And the videographer ippalam pinnadi ella vandu video edukran. So that wall is going to be so obvious. You don't want a tail in the video.
No, all sorts of angles, right? From the curtains, suddenly in the orchestra, there'll be two faces, and then there's a dancer right at the bottom. Yeah, and you're like, oops, sorry. I know, and it becomes very. They're trying to be as innovative as possible, but we're not used to those sudden angles or people spurting up when you're least expected.
Spy cam madri edutipalla candid cam.
I know, it's more like a spy cam. But anyways, thank you so much, Smita. It was so nice talking to you, and thank you for joining us for this series, because I really feel dance is a lot about joy, a lot about laughter, and especially
I'm so glad because in times like these where we're only talking about the heavy stuff and the not so fun elements, it's so nice to talk about, to relive those moments, because all of us have had a long journey, and by the grace of God, we do hope to have a longer journey ahead also. You like to sometimes recharge your batteries, and this is our form of recharge.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much. Namaste, Akka. Thank you.
Namaste.